Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a very exciting episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And oh wow, just immediately right when we start, I got a subscription. Thank you, TK, for that. But yes, my God, do we have one heck of an episode, and an episode so big, in fact, that I need to do something that I've honestly haven't done in a long time. Probably ever since my surgery back in August. Like, this was something that I've been putting on hold for a long time. But considering how big the news that we are going to be talking about here and how much that we are going to be discussing, I cannot do this alone. Yes, folks, I am bringing back a special guest, one who was previously here in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, and very recently, I was a part of his live stream, specifically to go and make predictions in terms of who would win at the Annie Awards, which, by the way, is going to be happening this Saturday as I am recording this. But I figured, why the fridge not? He would be great to go and come back and to actually discuss about some of the big things we will be looking into. So please, welcome back to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, Paleo Steno. Paleo, what is up, dude?
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I'm actually doing pretty well. What about you? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Also, I know that people who have seen me here before might see that I look different since I've been doing a bunch of like VTuber stuff.
Yeah!
Oh my God, that is actually perfectly timed. Thank you, Daniel, for that additional subscription right there. Yes, yeah, you definitely did receive a massive, I say, aquatic update, considering the last time you were either a pony or just a regular cartoon avatar, but now you got a nice little fish update right over there. So has that been working out for you?
Oh my God. That's so funny you say that, like, as soon as, like, J Monty in the chat says, like, I would make a fish joke, but I'll be respectful, because, like, it's, like, a dolphin, like, dragon type thing, because people in my chat call me a fish all the time. I'm not a fish.
Yeah, someone even mentioned, it's like, you look like a blue Mifa. Like, almost. I would say not 100%, but you do look like you would belong in the world of Legend of Zelda, either like in Breath of the Wild or in Tears of the Kingdom. Like, you got a bit of that vibe going on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
but
right now I just have a... Oh.
No, go on. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, I was gonna say, right now I just have this, like, PNG tuber, but I am getting, like, a live 2D model, this year. I just got that funded, so, and it's been ordered, so I'm gonna be, like, moving around with this design soon.
Oh, that's going to be pretty exciting. But anyways, we do have a big show that we are going to be looking into with a whole bunch of trailers to go and discuss and some big name animation news. So at this point, I would like to go and ask, Paleo, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Care to join me on this adventure?
Oh, I'm ready.
Oh, perfect. And as for the chat wall, are you ready for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Are you all ready now? Let's see. Yes. Oh, absolutely. I see people are prepared. I see people are all set for this. And with that said, it is now time that we shall go and get things started. And with our first story that we have, we're going to be looking into a trailer, but not a Super Bowl trailer. Yeah! Oh, and an additional, a gifted sub. Thank you so much for that one. But with that said, even though this is not from the Super Bowl, this is still a pretty big one that many are actually excited about. And Paleo, I'd like to go and ask you, are you a fan of the recent Sonic the Hedgehog movies?
Yeah, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah. Honestly, like I thought the first one was okay, but that second one though, oh my god, it's one of
Yeah, definitely.
it's one of the most fun that I've had in watching a movie on the big screen. It is just so much fun. And it looks like now we are going to have a continuation of that. Considering that at the end of this year, we are going to be getting the highly anticipated Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which will be featuring Shadow. This time around, we are going to get also a series, but not focusing on Sonic, but rather it will be focusing on Knuckles. So with that said, let's go ahead and check out the trailer for the upcoming Paramount Plus series of Knuckles. And that is the Knuckles series, to which it will be premiering on Paramount Plus with 6 episodes in total, technically, on April 26th. So, Paleo, I would like to know your thoughts on what we have just seen here.
So there's a bunch of different things. I saw an analysis video going over this trailer.
Mm-hmm.
And did you notice at the end when they had the ESPN thing, it said ESPN 8, the Ocho? Apparently that's a reference to Dodgeball. The movie.
Oh, really? Yeah. Like I
Yeah,
saw like
'cause,
it
like-
has ESPN, but
Yeah. Because that was like a fake channel that they made for Dodgeball the movie, was ESPN 8, the Ocho.
do you think like they also brought back the two
Yeah.
like the two co-hosts? So like, are they the same as well?
I don't know, actually.
Like, if they're gonna go into that length to do a Dodgeball reference, I wonder if they'll like, maybe not, but I wonder if like they would go that extra mile to really try, oddly enough, try to make the Dodgeball universe the same as Sonic.
Yeah. And also with the villain, because it's not Robotnik, it's just somebody who's like working under Robotnik.
Mhm.
But there are some theories about like using the quills from Knuckles, like Robotnik was using quills from Sonic, to like power these machines and stuff, and using it for like different mech stuff with the hands and everything, and that. Well, if you're making something that's like similar to Sonic, or not similar to Sonic, similar to Knuckles, um, what if like that is a tease of that they're going to try to do something with Metal Sonic in the future, and maybe in the in Sonic the Hedgehog 3,
Yeah.
because that could be like a Kong versus Godzilla thing where it was like Godzilla versus Kong, but then Mecha Godzilla comes out at the end. It could be like Sonic and Shadow, and then they fight against Metal Sonic.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
I've heard about those. I've heard about those rumors. I've heard about like those kinds of discussions about the possibility that maybe we could see Metal Sonic by Sonic 3. But then again, like, I don't know, because based on the direction that they may be going, and like with the big clue at the end of Sonic 2 that they're bringing in Shadow, like, I don't know if they're
Yeah.
going to go straight into that direction, or what I'm thinking is that maybe they're going to go a little bit more like in the veins where they might stay true to the plot line of Sonic Adventure 2. Like, they're going to go into that
Yeah.
narrative and focus on like the backstory with Shadow and have Maria in there, and maybe like maybe they'll establish who could be like the real villain, if it's either like they'll stick with Dr. Robotnik, or then again, like, you could be right, actually. Like, if they're still, like, because technically, Robotnik does become an ally in Sonic Adventure 2, and it's hard to imagine if they're gonna make
Right.
Jim Carrey Eggman be good. But, yeah, honestly, there could be some credibility. Like, maybe we will see Metal Sonic in the future. Like, if not in Sonic 3, maybe we'll see him in another time. But yeah, that could be an option, and maybe that could be the setup, but no confirmation as of yet. But it is an interesting theory, I will say.
Yeah. It does look a lot of fun though. I'm surprised like it looks like as good as the movies do. With like
Yeah.
Knuckles and everything. I'm just hoping that with Knuckles in this series that we'll be able to see him a lot. Like unlike I was gonna say like because like with when you go to like TV, sometimes they limit the budget.
Oh yeah, I mean,
So-
we saw that last week with the whole Mega Mind controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I do get what you mean, and you're right. Like, the visuals look absolutely stunning, and they are definitely on par with what we have received in the Sonic movies, and so far, like a lot of it looks great.
Oh
and I
yeah,
mean,
and that was the other thing.
yeah.
The Knuckles hat from the OVA.
Oh,
the Sonic
right.
OVA. Yeah.
Yeah, not only that, but they even referenced one small a character that only like diehard Sonic fans know. It's like an older echidna that quickly shows up at some point. I
Yeah.
don't know where he appeared, but like
Yeah,
that was,
I don't know what he's from.
I think it was somewhere. I think it's like he originated in the comics or something like that. Yeah, someone even mentioned that apparently it's Pachamac who's going to be showing up.
Huh.
Yeah, so, but I do agree, like, the visuals are definitely great, but on top of that, one thing that I do like that I'm seeing is that it is still staying true in terms of the silliness of the tone from the movies, especially from Sonic 2, and that's why I personally feel like one of my favorite scenes is somewhere at the start where you see that Knuckles updated the house, so like he turned it into like this big gladiator field,
Yeah.
and like like the dog has to fight against the mailman. Like that really does establish that once again, like with Sonic 2, nowhere is this going to be taking itself seriously, and there are some jokes that some of it might be pretty dumb, but like they are enjoyably dumb. So like all around, it feels like they know what is it that really worked with the Sonic movies, and now they're also applying that with Knuckles. And even like another scene I really liked is actually after you see the title, and then you see you see the guy just being dragged away like with the motorbike. Like that part is hilarious, especially with Knuckles just like standing there waiting like, no, he must do it himself to save himself, and then you just see him like just hopeless. That part is great. He must learn to
I don't
rescue
know
himself.
why, but
Yeah?
that scene with him being dragged away, I feel like I've seen that in another movie before. Like that same kind of like setup.
Yeah, I mean, that is possible. I mean, there are some things that we do see here that, like, there are elements they might take from other features, but I feel like when it comes to the Sonic movies, it's not necessarily about delivering the highest quality or like have the most creative originality. It's all about the fun of it. And as long as the gag itself works, then I mean, it's okay. And I mean, I do agree with you. It's not the most original idea that they have presented.
Oh yeah, Goblin Green said like, yeah, it's very Home Alone vibes.
Yeah. Like, it's very Home Alone vibes, but if it works, it works. And for me, at least, I feel like that gag actually is great, especially with the delivery with Knuckles and stuff like that. So I would say with this trailer, it's basically, if you've been enjoying the Sonic movies, especially Sonic 2, then you're definitely in for a treat with the Knuckles series. And also, I did see this online that someone actually brought up something really funny, and this is kind of like a deep thing that's actually really clever. It's the fact that in 2024, not only are they releasing a Sonic 3 movie, but they're also releasing a Knuckles expansion. So 2024 really is the year of Sonic 3 plus and Knuckles.
And Knuckles. Yeah.
So it all works out. And I know that technically, like, this is just a Paramount Plus series, but I do hope that this could mean that next year, like, whenever we would have like the DVD of Sonic 3, that it could, like, there's a bonus edition that could come packaged with the Knuckles series. That would just be that would be absolutely perfect in terms of marketing. But yeah,
very good.
Yeah, overall though, I'm definitely interested in seeing what the series has in store. So far, I mean, like, as someone who really likes the second Sonic movie, I'd definitely be on board to see what they're doing with the Knuckles series.
Yeah.
Yeah, alright, so with that said, now it's time I like to go and ask the chat wall, what do you all think about the Knuckles series? What do you think about the trailer that we have seen? Are you guys excited for this? Do you have any concerns? Also, I'm gonna go and write down, I'm gonna go and make a poll, and I will ask, are you excited for the Knuckles series? So then I'm just going to put in a yes, and then I'll also put in a no, and we'll go and make that poll right there as we go and check out what the comments have in store here. Let's see now. Alright, I'll go with this. Here I come, rougher than the rest of them. The best of them are tougher than leather. I gotta admit, I only saw the first Sonic movie. I haven't seen the second one yet, but this actually doesn't look half bad. I might watch this when this comes out, and maybe the second one when the third one comes out. Also, can't wait to see Rouge in the series. Oh boy, I know, yeah, that's definitely gonna be something people will be excited about. Like, the possibility that maybe Amy might be in the third one, but especially if Rouge would come, because, oh boy, if you think people are simping for Rouge now, wait till the movie version appears. It'll be a bit like what we seen last year with Peach in the Mario movie. Alright, let's see what else we got. As a fan of the first two Sonic films, this series is going to be lots of fun. Idris Elba kills it as the title character with his personality and charm. The action is awesome, and the comedy is laugh out loud funny. He's amazing in Sonic 2, and if I still got Paramount Plus, I might give this series a watch. This year's definitely going to be Sonic 3 and Knuckles, so the hype is on. Alright, let's see what we got. Knuckles was easily the best character of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, so a series based on him is more than welcome. The action in the CG looks great. I like the way Wade and, to an extent, Maddie more prominent, and Knuckles himself is fantastic. I'll definitely give it a watch, but if there isn't a whole episode where he just approves memes, I'd be very disappointed. At the very least, we need a Do You Know the Way reference. Well, I mean, to be fair, we already got that in Sonic 2.
Yeah.
You know, funny enough, I remember in the first, like, when I went to go and see the first Sonic movie, I was honestly surprised by the way that they represented the echidnas, like, back during Sonic's flashback, where you see the echidnas, like, as tribe people, and there was a part of me that was wondering, like, is this a reference to the Do You Know the Way meme? Like, showing the echidna tribe as just tribes people? Like, the only thing that would truly confirm it would be if they would just keep on spitting Sonic and his owl mom.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got. So far, for those keeping score at home, Dodgeball, Wreck-It Ralph, and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers are all connected by movie versions of Sonic the Freaking Hedgehog. Oh, thank you for that surprise subscription there. As for the series itself, this looks like it will be just as fun as the movies it spun off from. Not fun enough for me to get Paramount Plus subscription, but I'm sure the 5 people who have Paramount Plus will enjoy it. Well, oh boy, yeah, that's a completely different issue right there. Let's see. Oh, and apparently we do have a bit of a scoreboard here. Apparently it is 79% of people who say that they are excited for Knuckles, while 21 would say no. Okay, well, at least most are saying that they definitely do have some excitement. Let's see what other comments. I'm not a diehard Sonic fan, but I have enjoyed both the first 2 movies. The trailer for this series seems to be keeping in spirit and the quality with the movies, plenty of potential and plenty to satisfy devoted Sonic fans. Though to be honest, it looks at first glance to me like a trailer for a movie, rather than a straight-to-streaming movie. Well, then again, I mean, it's hard to say, because it's not, like, this isn't a full-on series. This is just a 6-episode miniseries. It's just going to be that small thing, and that's it. Honestly, I highly doubt if there would be, like, a season 2 of this thing.
Yeah.
Let's see, what other comments would we have? Just want to check. Oh, okay. With this trailer for the upcoming Knuckles series, this looks like it will be on par with the Sonic movies and will likely be fun as well. I know this will aim towards the people that like the Sonic movies, but I'll definitely be checking this out when it comes. That does bring up a very good question. If there is someone, like just based on this trailer, if someone hasn't seen any of the Sonic movies or doesn't necessarily care much for the Sonic films, do you think they would get on board with this Knuckles series?
Probably not. I think, like, if somebody's just, like, a fan of the movies, they'll watch it. I'm not sure if anybody would, like, just casually watch the Knuckles series if they don't know anything about the movies.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. It does, yeah, it is true that maybe it's a little bit geared more towards the fans of the features, or maybe like in general, like the Sonic fan base. But I mean, like, it already has a wide appeal in the first place, so maybe it could do something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like that could be the one small flaw with it, but yeah, we'll see when that time comes.
Yeah, and I think both the movies are on Paramount Plus anyway, so.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, if they got Paramount Plus, then they can easily catch up with the Sonic films right there. Let's see. I'll give it. This sounds pretty anticipating. In fact, it is maybe the first time I've been excited for a non-Disney Plus / Netflix production that doesn't make me feel like having second thoughts. Everything about it seems pretty solid, even if it seems a little unoriginal for some elements. And I highly enjoy the Sonic movies a lot, especially with Jim Carrey. Especially with Jim Carrey. Cross my fingers if he comes back. Well, it's been confirmed that he is. I might have to give this a watch, no joke. Alright, I think I'll read one more comment before we get on to our first break. Let's see. I don't think I've read this one, actually. As someone who is a big fan of the Sonic the Hedgehog movies, I am, and is extremely excited for the third movie. This trailer looks awesome. Knuckles was one of the best parts of the second movies, and I am glad he is getting his own series. Visually, it is impressive, and the action scenes are a lot of fun. So overall, this looks fun, and a nice appetizer before Sonic 3. Seriously, who knew one character design change could do so much? Yes, that one little change just completely grew this entire thing to become what it is today. Like that one little moment, I guess we could give thanks to.
Yeah.
All right, so with that said, we are going to go on to our first break, and when we do come back, now it will be the time that we will get into the bigger trailers, the ones that have appeared in Super Bowl. And for the first one that we will be looking onto, we shall go back to a franchise that recently had an amazing trilogy, but we'll see what number 4 has in store in their own kingdom. And we are back. Now, for our next story, it is time that we will be getting into the biggest trailers that we've got very recently, the ones that have appeared during the Super Bowl. And I know that there's been plenty of big moments that have occurred during that time, especially with the big game itself, in which the Kansas Chiefs turned out to be the big winner, even though the 49ers had a tremendous lead throughout the whole thing, but then suddenly, whoop, the Chiefs suddenly got that unexpected win right there, and also the big halftime show featuring Usher and many other guest stars. Just out of curiosity, Palo, have you actually seen the game?
No, I haven't watched the game. I've only seen clips of the Nickelodeon broadcast.
Yeah, the one with SpongeBob and Patrick just reporting like all the stuff. Like I mentioned to you before we started the show, I remember one of my family members, they actually did watch the Nickelodeon feed, and they were actually texting me like, oh my god, this is for us! We are the target demographic! Because it is just filled with so many different SpongeBob references. So it's basically just one massive SpongeBob filter on top of the football game that is going on. But you did get to see like all the trailers in there, right?
Yeah.
All right. Now, this one, however, I did let you pick on the trailers that we would be talking about here. And I'll just let you know, though, we will not have the time to look into all the trailers that have been released during the Super Bowl. Like, I know there's been a lot of very notable ones, including Twisters and Wicked. But this one, however, honestly, I'm really glad that you picked this one and that we get to talk about this, considering that this is related to one of my favorite movie trilogies. And now the fact that it is going to be expanded with a fourth movie going on. We'll see how this one will go. So with that said, let us now go and take a look at the trailer for the upcoming movie Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And that is Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, to which the movie will be coming soon to theaters starting March 10th. And Paleo, I am actually curious, why did you pick this movie for us to go and talk about for this podcast? And on top of that, I would like to know your thoughts about the Planet of the Apes movie, specifically the recent trilogy from the last decade.
Well, like you said earlier, it's also one of my favorite trilogies. Like the prequel trilogy that they did. I think it's like an excellent trilogy of movies. Like setting everything up, leading up to like the first Planet of the Apes. Of how everything fell apart. Like when I first saw Rise of the Planet of the Apes, like it's been like 2011 now, so that's damn, that's a 13-year-old movie now
already. Jeez.
Yeah. Because when I first saw that, I was like, wow, this was like, that was one of the first movies I was like, wow, we are getting really good at CG now. And like these movies have definitely been like at the forefront of like great like great
motion
computer
capture
technology. Yeah, great motion capture and like realistic CGI. And like just the expressiveness on the apes is just very, very good. But they also like tell really, really good stories.
Oh yeah.
I think Dawn might be my favorite. That one's is really good. Koba's like a really great villain in that.
Oh my god, yes. Such an underrated villain, I gotta say. Koba.
Yeah.
I feel like he doesn't get enough credit as a movie villain in general. Like, just the way he is built, the way that, like, his backstory just evolved, his character development is just amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, with that...
Go on.
Oh, I was gonna say, with King of the Planet of the Apes, because I didn't know if they were going to make, like, a new movie, because, like, that... the whole trilogy was supposed to be like, oh yeah, this is how it all happened. I didn't know that if they would like continue on and like start to where like the first movie started, I guess.
Yeah, it's hard to know because like I know with the original Planet of the Apes trilogy, it's all about the rise of Caesar and essentially like how did we go from a kingdom of humans and then all the way down to a kingdom of apes. But then like we see the whole thing like go through, and then like we see like it's literally like from Caesar's birth all the way down to his death. But now we got this new movie. I guess in a way it's starting its own line of Planet of the Apes movies, because like even though it does have a strong connection with the recent Planet of the Apes prequel trilogy, like it is starting its own, it's starting its own thing with its new batch of characters, considering it is set like I think 200 or 300 years after the events of that prequel trilogy. And like I'm on the same page as you. I do think that it's a trilogy in which the movies just got better and better with each new installment. It was like Rise was good, but then you got Dawn, which was absolutely great, and then War was spectacular. I'm kind of like in a bit of a tie that my favorite would be either Dawn and War. Like those two are just absolutely phenomenal. And also, like I remember back during when those movies were released, like there's been a lot of debate in terms of Andy Serkis's performance as Caesar, and a lot of people are saying they were pretty much saying that like he deserves to get some kind of award nomination either at the Golden Globes or the Oscars and stuff like that, because his performance as Caesar is just absolutely wonderful. So I remember that discussion being held. But then when I heard about the fourth movie, I've heard for a while that 20th Century wanted to do this. I think like even before, like I could be wrong, but I think like they wanted to make a fourth movie even before the whole Disney acquisition happened. So this was in the works for quite a while. And honestly, looking at this, I kind of feel like it's gonna be I kind of feel mixed about it, because on one hand, I'll say the good thing right now. This movie so far looks spectacular. Like the visuals that they got here is incredible.
Very, very good.
Oh yeah, like it is incredible, especially with the huge backgrounds, especially the apes themselves. They still look fantastic. So in terms of the visuals, in terms of the possible action that we could see, and not to mention, like we do see those small little nods of that Planet of the Apes trilogy. Especially like one thing I've massively noticed is that you see the apes' crests showing up. Like there's that giant wrecked ship, and there's this big circle that they do show right over here. Or like when you see the king ape, like his throne behind him is the same thing. And that's it's technically like their symbol or their crest, but it's actually it's Caesar's window. Like his back in his childhood home when he was living when he was living in the attic, that was the window that he saw through. And since then, like you would see that symbol being used again and again. And it's kind of cool that we still see that being used. So I'm kind of interested to know how they're going to link that prequel trilogy onto here. Consider like, especially if they're now going to use Caesar kind of like as a religious figure, if like the apes are going to view Caesar as like their Jesus or something. So that I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for.
Yeah, I'm very excited for it, and I'm glad it's coming out May 10th, because I'm gonna be going to MomoCon on Memorial Day weekend, because like originally it was going to come out Memorial Day weekend, so I'm glad they moved it up.
Right, that is true. And aren't others also going to be there? Like I know that's usually the big get together for many other cartoon reviewers.
Yeah,
like
there's going to be a lot of people there.
Oh dang! Honestly, I have contemplated myself if I wanted to go or not. Like honestly, like sometimes I've been wondering if I'm waiting. Like, oh, do I need to get an invite to be like a guest or something? Like I don't know.
Yeah, you can apply to be a guest, and they're very accommodating.
Okay.
But applying to be a guest, like I always like apply like as soon as they open, because they usually open applications like a couple months after the previous convention, but they keep them open for a while.
Okay.
But I was gonna say that at MomoCon, like they have a lot of like big guests that are going this year. Like they're having the amazing Digital Circus crew going.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool. Yeah.
All right, that's gonna be exciting. But anyways, going back to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, so visually already it looks absolutely stunning. But my one criticism that I do have, already I could tell based on the story, it might be a little bit of a downgrade to what we previously had, because honestly, I cannot help but think of just one movie that the story especially makes me think about. And for me, I gotta say, I feel like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, it looks like the live-action remake of Smallfoot. Do you remember that movie?
I do.
That's what
that's such a weird movie to compare it to. Weird.
I know it's weird, but like that's what the story reminds me so much of, because technically now they've pretty much established this entire civilization of their own, but then suddenly you get one character who gets curious about life with humans and suddenly grows a bond with another human, but then like the villains are like, no, you shouldn't, no, we need to keep ourselves segregated, do not trust the humans, don't go with the humans. And then suddenly like we got like all the action that's kind of going on. That's why it's so weird to say, I know, but that's why, like, the plot line just makes me think too much of Smallfoot in a way. So, I don't know, like, in that regard, it's like, okay, so, like, we're kind of going through that kind of plot line again.
Yeah, I'm a little concerned since it's not like the original trilogy's director doing it.
Yeah, Matt Reeves.
Matt Reeves. Who is doing this one? I forgot.
That's actually very interesting to note, because that's also going to be a major thing that I think people in general, regardless if you're a fan of the Planet of the Apes movies, you need to keep an eye out for, because it's going to be Wes Ball. The guy whom you know more, like, not only as the director of the Maze Runner trilogy, but he's going to be the guy directing the Legend of Zelda movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, apparently he was going to also direct the Mouse Guard movie that got canceled.
Oh, right, that one. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, which, man, I wish that actually, like, came to fruition, because the concept art of that looked really cool.
Oh yeah, it definitely looked very nice. It's too bad it got like, was it a Netflix production, that one?
I don't know. I'm looking here. It was probably because of the merger with Fox into Disney.
Right, because it was a Fox thing going on. Ah, that's right. Okay, yeah, now it makes sense. But yeah, that's one thing that I feel like, yeah, this is why people need to keep an eye out for this, because, yeah, like, how this movie is going to be will be our indicator of the possibility of how the Legend of Zelda movie is going to be, especially the fact that he's handling a popular franchise, he's expanding upon it. And I mean, like, just based on the landscapes, like, they definitely do look great. But in terms of driving a narrative, like, get a story flowing, have some character development, that is going to be a completely different story that will require us to see, that's going to be a completely different thing that we'll judge later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but with this movie though, what are you, like, overall, are you excited for this one? Are you curious to see, like, how do you think this is going to turn out?
I'm very excited for it. I think the trailers look very promising.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if not as, like, good as the Matt Reeves trilogy, I think at least it'll be a fun time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, for me, like, me and my family, we're totally excited to go and check this one out. And no matter what, we are going. I think we're gonna go and see this day one. But honestly, I'm not gonna set my expectations too high. I'm not gonna say that I'm excited for this, but I am optimistic. I'm not gonna go in expecting in the leagues of either Dawn or War, but this still looks like it's going to be pretty good, and I am hoping that, at least with the characters that they will be presenting to us, that they will be that, like, it will still carry on the spirit of what we got with the previous Planet of the Apes movies.
Yeah.
All right, so with that said, though, now it's time. I'd like to go and pass this onto the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you think about the trailer of Kingdom of Planet of the Apes? Are you all excited for this? And if you are a fan of the Planet of the Apes prequel trilogy like us, I would love to know your thoughts. And on top of that, let me just go and make another poll where I will go and ask, are you excited for, hold on, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes? Okay, now I just need to put in yes and then no. So let's go and create that poll, and let's go into what the chat wall says. Let's see here. This trailer looked better than expected. The visuals and world building look almost on par with the last two films, though I'm a bit concerned with the familiar story, but I am excited to see this come out. Also, to get this mini rant off, for those conservative people rooting against the Chiefs because of Taylor Swift's ongoing appearance against the Chiefs because of Taylor Swift's ongoing appearance in the football game, you're rooting for a Democratic city like San Francisco's 49ers, which Nancy Pelosi is rooting for. Therefore, you lose whoever you root for. Yeah, like, it was kind of, like, stupid to see, like, people desperately trying to make some political culture war out of the football game. Like, it's freaking football. It doesn't godforsaken matter, man. Like, especially if you're, like, if politics like that are enough to, like, if small politics like the inclusion of Taylor Swift is enough to turn you off from football, then you just don't care about football. Like, that was already established when you got Colin Kaepernick calling out racism in America, and some people suddenly got upset about it because they think racism is the cornerstone of America. But either way, if you hate Taylor Swift that much for conservative reasons, or if you hate Colin Kaepernick that much for conservative reasons, you don't care about football. So might as well put that out there. Anyways, Apes, we unite. I've been obsessed with the original Planet of the Apes film since I was a kid and been a huge fan of the prequels trilogy since 2011. I really do hope Kingdom will deliver both the hybrid of the original film and the prequel film. To me, this looks like a hybrid of these into one. Also, the motion capture performances and expressions of the apes so far look amazing as well. We are ready for more apes. Also, by the way, I just want to mention Paleo. I remember I saw this meme going on where you have the alternate title of Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and they legit called it "All My Apes Are Gone." I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. Anyways, as someone who really likes the recent Planet of the Apes, this seems like a great continuation of the franchise. The story is really engaging, the visuals are good as ever, and the action looks great. So overall, this looks impressive. Also, another thing that's going to be interesting is to see how this turns out, considering the director Wes Ball will be directing the upcoming live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Alright, let's see what else we got. I've never seen the Planet of the Apes movies, but I'd be kicking myself didn't reference the words of Master Oogway, monkey. But still, this looks great. Not only is the plot really intriguing, but the CGI of the apes still look top notch. I might give it a watch, but I'll need to give the first three movies to, I need to watch the first three movies to understand what the flip is going on. And always remember, reject monkey, revolve to crab. I guess that's the next evolution now. And we do have an update for the poll, and apparently 83% of you have said that you are excited for the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. All right, a lot of optimism so far seeing here. Anyways, one great thing about this film is that we're finally seeing some ape civilization, making it actually feel like a Planet of the Apes film, something that the previous films were setting up for. By the way, is it just me, or did anyone else kind of chuckle when the villain ape said, "Yeah"? At what part now specifically? Anyways, I have many movies planned in my schedule of movie-going days, and this is one of them. The last three Planet of the Apes movies were wonderful, and one of the few examples of reboots that are as good, if not even better, than the original film. While the plot so far gives me mostly How to Train Your Dragon 1 vibes, I am still very intrigued to check it out regardless for how it does its own take of that kind of story. Oh, that is true. That is another comparison of How to Train Your Dragon. Technically, like, it is true. Anyways, I will be keeping an open mind for this movie. The modern Planet of the Apes movies have been great so far. Personally, I still have a soft spot for Rise. If done right, this could be a commentary of how corrupt authority figures try to rewrite history to their liking, as it looks like Caesar's teachings have been lost in time. Also, I agree this will be a test to see if Wes Ball can handle Zelda. Alright. Let's see. Since this is technically a Disney movie, shouldn't the title be Kingdom Hearts of the Planet of the Apes? Ha 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 ha, but I digress. The trailer looks fantastic, and it got me incredibly hyped for the movie. If Prey taught me anything, it's that Disney can make great things out of the Fox properties. The reboot may have given us a fantastic trilogy, but this looks like it is building off those movies to make something spectacular. And I mean, technically, that is true. I mean, Prey turned out to be great. So
yeah, and apparently there's news about like the next Predator film or Prey 2 apparently is going to be set in the future.
Yes, that is true. They're having another Alien movie that's going to be coming out. It's going to be somewhere this year, if I recall.
Yeah, Alien Romulus.
Yes,
we haven't seen a trailer or anything yet, though.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We got one more comment that I'd like to go into. The Planet of the Apes prequel trilogy is absolutely fantastic. I love all three movies and I'm very intrigued to see this one. However, my only real criticism with this trailer is the CGI on the apes. I can see why it works for you, but something about the way they look feels a little off to me. Compared to the other Planet of the Apes films, the CGI feels a little bit more obvious as of late. Regardless, I'll definitely be watching it once it comes out. Hope it is great. Maybe. I mean, the technology has certainly evolved since War of the Planet of the Apes, so there could be some updates. But anyways, we will be right back after this break, and when we do return, we will have one more trailer we will look into, and it is undeniably the biggest trailer from the Super Bowl, so stay tuned for that. And we are back, and now we have one more trailer that we are going to look into, but don't worry, we still have more stories to get inside. But with this trailer in particular, already it is setting itself up to become one of the most anticipated movies of the year. And Paleo, just out of curiosity, what are your thoughts about the Deadpool movies that we have gotten with Deadpool 1 and 2?
It's been a while since I've seen them, but I did enjoy them a lot. I of course it was before, Disney took over Fox.
Yeah, that is true.
But they are still very fun movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I will say that I really liked the first Deadpool movie. That one was absolutely great.
Yeah.
The second one I will say was all right. I'm not going to say it's bad, but definitely a downgrade compared to the first. But now, it looks like we got another movie going on. We got a third one, and this one is hoping to be very special. So with that said, let us go and take a look at the teaser trailer for the upcoming third installment of the feature, Deadpool and Wolverine.
Happy birthday to you.
And that is Deadpool and Wolverine, to which the movie is going to be coming out July 26th. So, Paleo, I would like to know your thoughts about what we have just seen with this movie, with this teaser right over here.
Yeah, so I'm very excited to see this. It's probably gonna be the most excited I've been about a Marvel film. Well, I mean, Guardians 3 was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I would say since Guardians 3. But it's the only Marvel Cinematic Universe film we're getting this year.
Yes, that is true.
So it looks like they're really gonna be hyping this one up. And I'm glad they went with the title Deadpool and Wolverine, rather than Deadpool 3. That will definitely get a lot more people interested if they see that title.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw the trailer, because I was curious about how they would implement Wolverine, or not Wolverine, but Deadpool into the cinematic universe. And using the TVA, I'm like, oh, of course, of course they would do that. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun to see Deadpool just do his thing, breaking the fourth wall and everything. I saw someone mention in the chat, and I've seen it mentioned before. that you see the 20th Century Fox logo is like destroyed in the background of one of the scenes.
Yes. Yeah, that is
that's very, very good.
hilarious. Yeah, I find it so great, but also one thing that I do find funny is the fact that never once do they ever bring it, like, never in the trailer do we ever see Deadpool mentioning what's behind him. It's just part of the background and we just accept it. That, I will say, is actually pretty funny, and I mean, it really does help up with the meta humor. And I mean, even though we don't necessarily get that much of that meta-ness, other than that one, and also, like, right at the beginning where he mentions, is like, yo, this is not my first time pegging, but it is for Disney. But I will say, like, already the humor, like, I wouldn't say everything, like, hits so much, but like, there definitely is some legit laugh out loud funny moments that we are seeing here so far. And one thing I'll even say right now, one thing that I truly do appreciate, the fact that, like, this is just a teaser, but they barely showed much of Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. Like, we only got, like, a small taste of it at the beginning. And even that, the way they did it is actually really funny as well, especially, like, what, you know, like, asking him to give him a hand and then just quickly changes his mind, like, at this part.
Don't just stand there, you ape. Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much.
Like, that part, I gotta say, is actually really good. But also, like, one thing that it's also very nice to see is that now with the introduction of Deadpool, like, even though they started a little bit with stuff like Echo, but now we are seeing Marvel Studios and the Marvel Cinematic Universe really leaning in on the hard R. And that, like, on top of, like, the novelty of Deadpool, that's also another thing that's going to be a big part of this movie and its inclusion to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The fact that they're not going to hold back in terms of the type of humor they will be delivering with all the nasty sex jokes and stuff like that. The violence is going to be very gratuitous. Like, it's not going to hold back on the fact that it will be bloody. Even the language, they will be throwing in all the shits and fucks as much as they want. So from there, it could be, like, this could be a factor in which they will be they will be giving the Marvel Universe something that that many people would say it needed for a while. And some people might even say maybe this could be the movie that could help things out in terms of bringing back intrigue onto the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I know that, Pilio, with you follow the MCU more than I would. What do you think of the kind of impact that this movie may do onto the MCU? Do you think the stuff it'll do, like adding in Deadpool and going in with that hard R, do you think this is going to help things out?
Yeah, I think it's gonna revitalize things a bit. Because there's definitely been a lot of fatigue with, like, so many different shows and movies that have come out in the past couple of years. Though I know with this one, people are saying, like, oh yeah, you can watch Loki, with learning about the TVA and everything. Because the Loki's still a great show.
I've heard a lot of great
those two
things
seasons
about
that they
it.
did. Yeah, it's very good. And it has, like, a great story arc with Loki in that show. And there's like rumors that, like, there may Owen Wilson's character might show up in this movie as Mobius from Loki. And it'll be interesting to see what they do with the 20th Century Fox stuff, because people have been speculating that Deadpool might be going across, like, the 20th Century Fox, like, multiverse, and, like, killing these alternate versions of Marvel characters, like the Fantastic Four and the other X-Men, which would be crazy if they did something like that.
Oh, that would, like, honestly, in that regard, I could, like, especially with the fact that this is, like, as you mentioned, this is the only MCU movie that we are getting this year. Like, this could actually help things out to go and grab some new intrigue. And especially with Deadpool, with the directions that he would go that can be very unexpected and that he could be very unapologetically meta, if he would go out of his way to go and try to fully establish a reboot, because technically, I know with the Deadpool movies, there is a bit of a connection with some of the more recent X-Men films, so maybe they might do some stuff, maybe they might do some updates with it, and, you never know with, how, it depends on how far they're going to go with the meta side of things and what kind of commentary they would establish. Especially, I think the big question is, how much is Disney going to let Deadpool make fun of Disney in a way? Are they not going to hesitate on how many gags that Deadpool can do at the expense of Disney? Not just in terms of the whole Fox, the Disney Fox acquisition, and also with the MCU and stuff like that, but maybe with some of the other factors about Disney as well. Who knows? Honestly, I'll give it bonus points if it could find a way to make a joke about Bob Chapek. That would be amazing. But yeah, so far I will say, and also there's also the factor of the action that I would like to know your thoughts about. So far, so far it is giving out a great first impression in terms of the comedy, but what about the action? So far, what do you think about that from what we've seen in the teaser?
I think it looks pretty good so far. Nothing's super impressing me yet. But I'm waiting to see if they might do a red band trailer. Because this is just a regular trailer. I don't know if they'll do a red band trailer or not. They might do that a couple of months before the movie comes out.
I don't know. Honestly, I feel, funny enough, even though this is not necessarily a Red Band trailer, there's a lot of it that feels very Red Band in a way. Deadpool Wade did get away with a few F-bombs, and we do see some legitimate full-on violence in here.
This is the Red Band trailer?
No, this is no.
Said in chat.
Oh, no. Okay, someone did mention. Okay, yeah, so this is a Red Band trailer, actually. So there you go. But I will say, though, keep in mind that we are talking about a teaser. This isn't necessarily the full trailer here, so I do understand if maybe we didn't necessarily see a whole lot of that action in the first place, saving a lot of those components in the same way that they are saving Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. So from that, somebody even mentioned that there was that one point where you hear Deadpool screams, "Oh my fuck!" And there was where was that actually? I think it was right over here. Was it here? No, wait, no, sorry, that's no, wrong part actually. No, it's right here actually.
Oh my fuck!
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So. Yeah, this is, well, technically, I guess, it's right in the middle where it is a Red Band teaser. Okay, that makes perfect sense. No, but I will say, overall, though, I could see why this is the biggest trailer that did come out of the Super Bowl. Especially as a teaser, it did present the things that we really do want to see from a Deadpool movie and what we want to see in terms of his contribution to the MCU. And so far, they are delivering that very well. And without spoiling too much of the surprises that are going to be in store in here. So honestly, I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye out for this one. I think we might have something special, and that maybe this and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will stand out among the best of the MCU movies that we've gotten in recent years, or at least in this decade, actually.
Yeah, in this phase of Marvel.
Oh yeah, and especially with the we're now in what, phase 5 right now?
Yeah, it's phase 5. Phase 5 started with Quantumania.
Yeah.
So.
No, it did, because technically, it ended off with, Wakanda Forever.
Black Panther, yeah.
And then, like, it went into Quantumania, so, yeah, like, it needs, it needs a boost somewhere. Alright, anyway, so with that said, I would now like to go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you think about the teaser of Deadpool and Wolverine? Are you all excited for this? And especially, if you are a fan of the first two films, I would love to know your thoughts. And on top of that, I might as well go and make another poll here, just to go and write down, one more trailer poll for this. Are you excited for hold on a sec. Deadpool and Wolverine? So let's just go with a quick yes, and then also a quick no. And let's go from there. Alright, so what does the chat wall have to say here? I am incredibly excited for this. I'm glad they still have the same brand of humor from the first two movies, and action and violence looks on point. Hope that we get to see more of Wolverine in the next trailer. I also really am excited for more of the marketing and as the months go by. Hugh Jackman's post on Instagram with the alternate title is pure gold. Oh, you know what would also be a great, comedic moment? I would love to know how are they going to go and bring up the transition of Wolverine from Logan all the way up to now with Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, how are they gonna, like, I would love to see how would they go and make that kind of connection. Anyways, let's see what else we got. I was concerned that Marvel wouldn't be able to pull off this big concept, but I'm so glad to be proven wrong. The jokes are still top tier, especially the pegging joke. The TVA angle is pretty interesting, and the directing is surprisingly great. The shot of Deadpool loading his gun goes hard as crap. This'll be a must watch, but I gotta point out how Weasel isn't at the birthday party, probably because his actor turned out to be a major weasel. Do we want to go into that discussion? Anyways, well, that looks like fun. I think that it'll be worth seeing. Granted, the TVA is there, but unfortunately no Owen Wilson. Oh well. Still, action looks cool and Deadpool is funny. Hope for some more Disney merger / R-rated meta humor. It'll definitely feel fun. I think I might see it. As for future Marvel projects, again, if this succeeds, Disney should make Marvel more a once-a-year thing, gives everyone more time to let a conversation build online and have a break. That is an interesting idea. What do you think about that?
Yeah, because like when Marvel, the cinematic universe first started out, we only had like 2 films, like a year until 2017, where they started doing 3 films a year. But that was like building up to, Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah, of course.
But then they started like, I think it's really like with the shows and everything that putting it together, they just really spread themselves thin.
Yeah, like they were pumping out content a little bit too hard, and hopefully that will be one thing that we will see Disney learn their lesson from, that they're not that they'll value quality over quantity. And that was the one thing that kind of really screwed over Phase 4, is just too much content at the same time. And it kind of justifies the fear that people had if they didn't jump into the MCU. It's just, there's just like, if you want to get into the times, if you want to be on the loop of what's going on with the MCU, you literally have to devote yourself to literally hours of homework just to understand like the current situation with the latest MCU movie. Let's see what else we have. I could see so much amazing potential to be not only be one of the best MCU films of recent years, but ever, because I know for a fact that Deadpool and Wolverine will change the MCU forever because of its R rating. The last Deadpool film did involve time travel, and it's 100% understandable why the TVA wants Wade Wilson. Also, props to the teaser trailer for not showing Hugh Jackman for now. Save it for the movie. Disney is ready to make history with their first R-rated film that isn't Touchstone. Oh, that is true, actually. I never thought of that. Well, I mean, technically,
No.
it's not under the Disney brand as of yet.
Yeah, they don't show the Disney logo in front of Marvel movies. Just Marvel Studios.
Like, I mean, like, sure, Wade is unapologetically mentioning how this is, like, a Disney movie, technically, but it doesn't have, like, it'll only count if it's a movie that's R rating and it starts with that When You Wish Upon a Star theme. Then it'll capture our attention right there.
Yeah.
Yes, and apparently, I did miss, unfortunately, the poll.
Oh, it was 95%.
Oh, dang. Wow, the biggest one that we have gotten compared to Knuckles and Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. The hype is real for Deadpool. Okay, let's see. Hey, y'all, it's effing Deadpool and Wolverine, bitches! I apologize for the foul language I said, but hey, it's freedom of speech. What do you expect? Back to the movie, though. As a fan of the previous Deadpool movies, I am really excited to see this film. The joke that made me laugh the most is when Deadpool calls himself Marvel Jesus. No offense to Christianity, but God bless Marvel Jesus. That and Wolverine was lending Deadpool a claw, even though Deadpool didn't want a claw. Yeah, that was also funny, like I mentioned before. All right, let's see now. Deadpool and Wolverine, let's be honest, is pretty much the only anticipated superhero film that I will only look forward to, as I couldn't care less about Joker 2 and Sony's Marvel films this year. It looks promising with the action, humor, and exploring the Fox world, such as the X-Men, for example. As someone who has grown fatigued with mediocre superhero films as of late, this is the only superhero film that I will look forward to until Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out in the near future. Hope it goes well. Yeah, also just out of curiosity, do you have any thoughts about the rest of the superhero films that we're getting, especially with Madam Web coming out very soon?
Oh, yeah. That looks very bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why Sony just... There's like, we have Spider-Man characters, so we're gonna do that, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like right now, it's like it's Sony Animation who is their only saving grace, because without that, then like even the Disney haters would demand for Sony to give Spider-Man to Disney.
Yeah, it's you know what's funny about Deadpool and Wolverine with the X-Men and everything, because there's gonna be the introduction of the X-Men into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But did you see the Marvels?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay. Do you care if I spoil an end credit scene?
It'll be fine. So, spoilers, folks. There will be some spoilers of the Marvel, so if you haven't seen it yet, go watch it on Disney Plus and then come back here. Anyways, continue.
Okay, so yeah. So at the end of the Marvels, Miss Marvel, oh no, well, is it Miss Marvel? I forgot which character it was. I think it was what's her name? Captain Rambeau. Yeah, Monica Rambeau. Yeah, she ends up in like another side of a different universe or whatever, and you see Beast show up. From the X-Men. And it's like, well, that happened, but it's funny because like nobody talked about it. Like after the Marvels came out.
Well, yeah, because nobody saw it.
Yeah, because I completely forgot about it until I watched Double Toasted talk about this trailer. I was like, oh yeah, that did happen. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that is true. Well, I mean, they already hinted about the Marvel. They already hinted about X-Men before, because I know that by the end of Miss Marvel, like they played the tune a little bit. It's like, oh my god,
did.
you're a mutant. Yeah. Anyways, we'll read one more comment before we do take another break. Let's see here. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 and Wakanda Forever really captured what made the MCU of the 2010s so great, more so than the other MCU films this decade so far. But now Deadpool and Wolverine looks like it'll continue that tradition. I adored the first Deadpool as well as really enjoyed Deadpool 2, though not quite as much as the original. I am super psyched for this one. This is right up there with Inside Out 2 and Despicable Me 4 as my must-watch summer movies this year. Alright, so with that said, it is now time that we are going to take a break, and even though we are done with trailers, we're now going to get into the major animation news. And with this one in particular, we are going to see the comeback of a very unexpected character. I mean, considering that her movie is still very popular, I guess it demands for her to have an encore, so stay tuned for that. And we are back. Now, for our next story, this may not be the Super Bowl, but debatably, the news and the talks that have been around it, they are said to be about as big as the Super Bowl. And let's just say that Disney had a very interesting week, especially with some of the other news that have occurred, including Disney spending $1.5 billion on stakes on Epic Games so that they could create a massive Disney universe within games such as Fortnite. And then there's also the whole controversy with Gina Carano trying to sue Disney, in which everybody is already giving Gina a massive L. But then there is this news in particular. The big announcement that nobody was expecting, but it looks like already people are adding it onto their list as one of the most anticipated movies of the year. But just out of curiosity though, Paleo, what is your opinion on Moana?
I love Moana. The first movie, it's funny because like when I first saw the movie back in 2016, I was kind of lukewarm on it after I first saw it, but then like a week after I watched the movie, I was constantly listening to the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, I love this movie.
Yeah, sometimes like at first like, it's like a little bit iffy, but then you think back about like some of the elements and then you hear the soundtrack, like it grows on you so much. I think that's what happened with that's kind of what happened with me on Tangled. Like I really liked the movie when I first saw it, but I was lukewarm on the soundtrack. But over time, like, then it got to me. I was like, okay, stuff like When Will My Life Begin, I See the Light, and I Have a Dream, like, those are fantastic. But it looks like it is not the last that we shall see Moana. Now, technically, Disney was already planning this out, but it looks like now they have much bigger plans for this. And what I am talking about is the unexpected announcement of Moana 2. Yes, Disney has confirmed that they are going to be releasing a sequel to their big animated hit, Moana. And not only that, but Moana 2 is actually going to be coming out later this year. That's right, folks. This is going to be their animated release for this American Thanksgiving, specifically on November 27th. Now, at this point, we don't know what's going to be in store with this Moana movie in particular, or at least in terms of the narrative of the feature, what adventures that Moana and Maui are going to get into, and who are the new characters and stuff like that. In fact, reading from my source here on Variety, it actually states right over here, according to Disney, Moana 2 will take audiences on an expansive new voyage with Moana, Maui, and a brand new crew of unlikely seafarers. After receiving an unexpected call from her wayfinding ancestors, Moana must journey to the far seas of Oceania and into dangerous, long-lost waters for an adventure unlike anything she's ever faced. So, that couldn't be any more vague, basically saying that Moana and Maui are going on an adventure with new characters. That's pretty much it. But what we do know so far is some of the people who are going to be involved. Now, we've already heard that there are going to be some there have already been talks with Dwayne Johnson and Ali Carvalho to go and reprise their roles, which, let's be honest, they're definitely going to go and do so. But one thing that has been confirmed is some of the cast and crew, or the crew especially, considering that we are going to get a mix of some people from the first film, but also some newcomers as well. I think it is safe to say that, well, of course, John Musker and Ron Clements will unfortunately not be coming back for Moana 2 as the directors, especially when John Musker has already retired a few years ago. But the director for this one is actually going to be a newcomer, someone who's going to be making his directorial debut, which is Dave Derrick Jr., who previously was a storyboard artist at Disney Animation on movies like Raya and the Last Dragon and Encanto. And on top of that, a lot of people have also noted that Lin-Manuel Miranda is not going to be returning to write new songs for the feature. And even though he will not be returning, the two other songwriters of the movie, Opatai Foai and Mark Mancina, they will be coming back. At least they got those two to go and write the songs and to stay true to the spirit of Moana. And on top of that, there are two new songwriters that will be joining them, specifically Abigail Barlow and Emily Bear, who are known as the creators of the unofficial Bridgerton musical. But that is not all, though. There is also another major thing that Disney has announced, and that is regarding the near future of what is in store for Walt Disney Pictures and in terms of their animation lineup. And surprisingly, at least for Disney Animation, they got a whole bunch of sequels going on. Unfortunately, Wish is going to be the last Disney animated feature that is purely original that we will have for now. They have also announced that Zootopia 2 is going to be coming out next year, specifically on November 26, 2025. And then the year after that, not only are we going to be getting the first of the next lineup of Star Wars movies with The Mandalorian and Grogu, and that we are going to get Toy Story 5, but they've also revealed we are going to be getting Frozen 3. And they have yet to even mention about when Frozen 4 is going to be coming out, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they'll have a release date of maybe 2027 or 2028, but I guess we will have to wait and see. So, with Moana 2, Paleo, what are your thoughts on this one?
So, I'm kind of concerned, because this, if I'm not mistaken, this was originally they were going to do a series for Moana on Disney Plus.
Oh, yes, I forgot to go and mention that, because it is true that originally the plan for this was to actually make a Moana Disney Plus series. They wanted this to be Disney Animation's first full-on series alongside with the Tiana series, and this one is also, and with that one, it was supposed to be done in their new division in Vancouver. However, somewhere down the line, they decided to change their minds and say, hey, instead of making this a series, let's turn this into a movie. So, sorry to interrupt, but go on.
Yeah, so that's what has me concerned about it. And the fact that like they didn't get the main voices until now, I guess. And then maybe they're like redubbing over it or something.
Yeah, that's most
then,
likely
like,
the case.
Yeah. But I did see somebody mention in the chat that it is kind of a similar situation to what happened with Toy Story 2, because originally Toy Story 2 was going to be like a straight to video thing, or like a special, I think.
No, it was one of their, it was originally one of their direct to DVD, direct to home media sequels that they wanted to do, but then suddenly they changed their mind to make it theatrical, and then at some point they decided to just retcon everything, and they decided to build the entire movie in just 9 months, like putting the Pixar employees through hell on that one.
Yeah. Which Toy Story 2 is a great movie.
Mm-hmm. No, of course.
So if it ends up like that, then I'd be like, oh, okay. That's great. And I mean, there's been like other stories of different animated films that have like either like been completely reworked within like less than a year sometimes. I mean, Zootopia, that happened to that film.
Yeah, there's
they had
Zootopia.
to completely scrap it. Yeah.
Yeah, Zootopia, and also, like, I would even add, like, a bit of the Spider-Verse films as well. They kind of went through the same thing, especially with the mindset of Phil Lord and Chris Miller, constantly changing their ideas again and again and again. And especially, I think with both Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse, like, they finished the movie at like, the very last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I do have concerns as far as that goes. And as far as like Disney doing all of these sequels in the next couple of years, it does feel like they were a little spooked by how Wish performed.
Mm-hmm. Well, Wish and Strange World as well.
Yeah, and Strange World, for their original films that they've done before. Though we are still getting some more original Pixar stuff. Because there's still Elio coming out.
Yeah, Elio
Um,
and I think they're still working on the Win or Lose series. I think that's still going to be
yeah,
happening
yeah.
for Disney Plus. Yeah, and well, go on. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I just have to wait and see.
Oh, okay,
we
yeah.
we still don't have a trailer. We just have the teaser, so we'll have to see what the trailer. We'll probably get a trailer sometime in summer, maybe.
Yeah, well, honestly, it wasn't even a teaser. It was just like a little, it was like 15 seconds of just Moana
Yeah.
blowing on a conch, and that's it. But
Oh, we did also have a like a
oh, some
what's it called?
images. That's true.
Yeah, an image. We did get an image. And I saw a whale shark, so I was like, oh, cool. I like whale sharks.
Yeah, that is true. Like, that is the most that we have gotten. Like, we see Moana, we see Maui, we see the pig and Hey Hey, and we got 3 new characters as well, as along with that whale shark that could be one of the ancestors, considering that it has the same pattern.
Yeah. It's also weird that they're doing this and the live action remake, like because they said they got I don't know if it was confirmed if they got an actor to play Moana.
You know, the funny thing is that from what I've heard is that there's been a lot of speculations on that one as well. And from what I've heard is that what's most likely going to happen is that they may delay it. Some people are saying that because of Moana 2, that plan for the live action remake is full on canceled. But I don't know, like, some people are denying that, and some people are saying that what's most likely going to happen is that because it was originally going to be coming out in 2025, it would be way too soon to Moana 2.
Yeah.
So chances are they're just going to go and delay it. Not to mention the fact that they haven't even started they haven't even started production on that one. So I don't know, like, for me personally, it would be great if they would just cancel it so they could say that we're getting Moana 2 instead. That would be, like, a better alternative. But I don't know what Disney's plans are for that one, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. But chances are we're going to have to wait. I think because of what they're doing with Moana 2, they're going to have to go and wait a lot. We're going to have to wait a lot longer for that one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I also did want to say, also, I think they announced this because recently it came out of like the most streamed movies of 2023, and Moana was at the top. So they're like, we got to make this a movie and not a series.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, honestly, honestly, it does make sense. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this has happened a few times because ever since Disney Plus started, Moana has consecutively been a champion in terms of being of like one of the most watched stream movies. Like, if it's not at number 1, it's always among the top 10 stream movies ever. Like, even compared to like the stuff on Netflix and on Max and on Amazon and all that kind of stuff. So honestly, I could see exactly why like they want to do their next step of like, let's do a Moana 2. Like, they've already had plans that they want to go and like make a continuation of Moana. So I could see the big appeal of like trying to make a Moana 2, especially if they want to go and win back audiences. Because, well, clearly there wasn't that much interest with either Strange World and Wish, or that because of, well, I mean, with the big Disney hate that's been going on social media, that it scared audiences away from watching those movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also I will say, though, that there is another thing that I've kept on hearing, and that's like that's one thing that people have been very concerned about in terms of Moana 2, because of the fact that originally they wanted to go and make this into a series, but they turned this series into a movie, and now there's been speculations that some people are thinking that because of that, this could be another case of Belle's Magical World or Atlantis, Milo's Return, where this movie turns out to be just take 3 or 4 episodes and you just put that into a feature film. Do you think that could be the case with this?
I don't know. Because I'm not sure like what they were planning with the Moana series, if they was gonna like be like a solid like narrative throughout throughout that series. Because like with those other films, it definitely felt like it was like, oh yeah, this was like a pilot, pretty much, for like a series. For this, I'm not sure. I'd have to wait to see the trailer.
Honestly, I hope, like, for me, I hope not. I'm not saying that they're not going to go and do it, but it's just like, that would feel like an extremely stupid thing for them to go and do. That would just be, that would just be a massive failure. And I mean, like, considering that those 2 films have an awful reputation, I mean, like, so far, like, I will say already you do have a step up, because just from that announcement clip of Moana blowing on that conch, like, the animation, like, it still looks fantastic. So at least, like, like, the animation quality won't be that bad. It's not like suddenly we'll see Moana, like, just, you know, reading a book to Maui, and suddenly, like, she'll look up and her eyes are just going to be completely, like, one way and then another. You know, it's not going to be that, I don't think it's going to be that bad. But I am hoping that, you know, that won't be a case in which, and you've mentioned this before, like, before we started the story, that hopefully it's not going to feel like a rushed production. You know, they're not, you know, this won't be rushed, and that, you know, whatever ideas that they have, that all they had to do is just morph it onto a feature film, and then we can go from there. So overall, it's, for me, I would say that it's, like, even though I really, like you, I really like Moana, it is a little too early to say if, this is going to be a great movie, or if this is going to be a disaster. But honestly, I'm just going to keep my eye on it and see how this will go. But I mean, the fact that it is a Moana 2, you know, it did get me intrigued. It did catch my attention. So I think that's the most that I could go and say. What about you?
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to wait and see what happens. Oh yeah, J Monty in chat also mentioned it might depend on if there's an animation guild strike this year, because there are renegotiations going to be happening.
Okay, that is actually interesting, honestly. We'll have to wait and see on that. Like, I could, yeah, like, if that would be the case, that there would be a union strike. Well, no, not even, though. Like, it would depend on that, and also, it would depend if, Disney does sign on with the union in the first place. Because keep in mind, Disney Animation is, unfortunately, non-union. Hopefully, things can actually change, but, for now, doesn't look great. But, well, we'll see how things will go. Someone mentioned that Disney Animation and Burbank are all 100% unionized. Oh, okay. And yeah, with Jonathan, I mean, he's a very trusted source. So honestly, okay. So if they are unionized, then in that case, okay then. So yeah, if they go on strike, then yeah, Disney Animation will also go on strike. But anyways, with that said and done, let us now go into the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you think about the announcement of Moana 2? Are you guys excited for this to come out? Do you have any concerns? No matter what you may think, please let us know in the chat wall right over here. All right, let's see now. Glad to see Moana is coming back to theaters, despite the planned series now becoming a movie. 2023 seems to be not good for Disney, thanks to Bob Iger's problems, like saying dumb things about the writers and actors strike, and donated $2 million to Israeli humanitarian aid and nothing for Palestine, sadly. That's why Wish and the Marvels didn't go well at the box office, and the same thing might happen in future releases like Inside Out 2 and Moana 2, as long as Disney is in the boycott list. Well, honestly, that's like a whole debate in itself right there. I don't know if I would, like, maybe it has played a role. Like, I know, like, yeah, there's, like, a lot of problematic factors in regards to Disney, but I don't know if that would be, like, a major one that you would say, that's what caused Wish and the Marvels to bomb and stuff like that. So, I mean, like, we could have a discussion about that, but I don't know if we have the time right now for this. Let's see, what else do we have here? I don't know if it's just me being burned out over the recent Disney animation films, but the more I read about Moana 2, the more I'm cautious about it. Since the sequel is basically a retooled Disney Plus series, I'm afraid that the team didn't have time to fix some stuff to make it feature-worthy, and say what you think about Lin. The Moana soundtrack is a banger to listen, so I hope the new songwriters can match the first one, but hey, at least the furries can have their own Joker 2 with Zootopia. Now, honestly, I just want to say, and this might be a bit of a hot take, but personally, I'm not that concerned about the Moana soundtrack. I think it'll still be pretty solid. Like, yes, we don't have Lin-Manuel Miranda, but again, keep in mind that it's not just Lin-Manuel Miranda who wrote the songs. There's also Opa Taipoai and Mark Mancina. They also contributed to the songs of Moana. So, I mean, yes, you don't have a key player, but you still have those two whom I have confidence that they will still provide some great substance onto what we have here with Moana. And also, like, if you have any concerns about how the soundtrack of Moana 2 is going to be, then maybe take a moment to listen to the unofficial Bridgerton musical. Then you could probably have an idea that maybe some of that tone will be adopted onto Moana 2. So just to clarify on that. So if you have any concerns, then my best recommendation is to just do your research. Let's see what else we have here. Well, this came right out of nowhere, but I welcome it. Moana 2 looks great, and considering Ali Carvalho's recent popularity through Haley's on It and the new Mean Girls, it's the perfect time to make it. As for others, I've gone on record to say that Toy Story 5 doesn't have a lot of potential, but I can't say the same about Zootopia 2 and Frozen 3. Overall, I'm psyched, but I've got to ask in regards to Moana 2, are we gonna get Tamatoa back? Oh, that is interesting. Like, honestly, yeah, we know Maui and Moana is coming back, but what about some of the others? Like, are we gonna see a return of Tamatoa, considering that he's a massive fan favorite? Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, I think the best answer would be he'd better come back, or else we might end up having another Shafrilla's rant video about it.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's see what else we have here. I hate to sound cynical. In theory, I think Moana has plenty of potential as a sequel, and I'll admit I was one of those people who felt the same about a Zootopia sequel. Between what Paleo has mentioned about the Moana series and remake, which haven't even come out yet, if they haven't been cancelled, to me this feels like Iger in his inglorious return as CEO, trying to desperately prove that he hasn't lost his touch. I wouldn't even be surprised if he would want to replace artists with AI. Well, I mean, honestly, we haven't had any confirmation as of yet, and I mean, I cannot say if you are wrong immediately, but that remains to be seen, and honestly, the most that we could do is just wait until we see, like, either a teaser or a trailer come out, which, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we'll have to wait until maybe when there's going to be the, like, when Inside Out 2 is going to be coming out. I think around that time, that's when they'll put out the trailer, or at least the teaser.
Yeah, probably.
Let's see. In a way, I do understand why Disney is going through this sequelitis period once again, considering that their original films aren't really working at the moment from a commercial standpoint. And let's face it, IP films are usually more profitable than original films. But regardless, I'm super excited to see both Moana 2 and especially Zootopia 2, and I'm crossing my fingers that Disney can recapture that same legendary high standard that the originals captivated audiences with. And yeah, like, I understand if it's not that appealing that Disney is just going to be making sequels again and again. And I think even Bob Iger actually went on record to say that that Disney is so far making a little too many sequels. So I am hoping that that sometime soon, maybe in, like, you know, maybe in a few years' time, like in 4 or 5 years, Disney can go back to making original content, because, I mean, there's still that magic that you can get with those that you wouldn't get with sequels and stuff like that. Let's see. I think we'll read one more comment before we move on to our two more comments, actually. As someone who loves the original Moana movie, I have my concerns with this sequel in terms of the sudden announcement. One, I'm concerned about the potential rush production of what is supposed to be a TV series. Two, is it being released on the same weekend as Wicked Part 1? And three, having a sequel and live-action remake coming out within months apart unless it gets delayed or something. I don't want it to suck, of course, but I'm concerned how it's going to turn out overall in this sudden news. Well, I mean, there are some things that are already answered. Like, there's already the strong possibility that the live-action remake is going to be delayed, so that's already being covered. The rushed thing, I mean, that will have to remain to be seen. And then, as for Wicked, I'm already seeing that some people are trying to make another Barbenheimer onto this, and if that would be the case, then honestly, the competitive nature won't be that much of a concern. In fact, it'll actually be a benefit for Disney. I think, like, Disney, I think, if anything, Disney is hoping that they can have their own Barbenheimer alongside Wicked. Just out of curiosity, Paleo, do you think that if that were the case, do you think, like, the fact that Wicked is going to be coming out on the same weekend, do you think it's going to hurt Disney, or could it help Disney in the same way as Barbenheimer?
I don't know. Because, like, they're both going to be musicals.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think Barbenheimer was, like, such a unique thing that happened. It'd be really hard to capture that again. But it does help that both of them are musicals, and both of them are probably a lot shorter together than Barbie and Oppenheimer, because Oppenheimer is like 3 hours long. So added that with Barbie is like, oh, you got like 5 hours of movies to watch through. But with Moana is an animated movie, and usually they're about an hour and 45 minutes. Usually is that's like their length. And then Wicked, I'm not sure how long that musical is going to be for part one. I didn't even know it was going to be a part one. I thought they were going to do it in all in one go. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. And I guess, I guess I'll go. I'll have time for one more comment, actually. Hearing this news about Moana 2 really did got me hyped, and knowing what actually happened to the Disney Plus series really made some sense now. I just hope that it will be a fantastic sequel. Let's wait and see if this will be Disney Animation Vancouver's first big feature for them. For the upcoming sequel, Frozen 3 is my biggest anticipated film by Disney Animation. Zootopia I know will be great too. I did bump into Jared Bush a few months ago when I visited the studio. Seems like he was working on it. Oh, that's interesting. All right, so with that said, we got one more story to go. And when we do come back, oh boy, do we have a big grand finale. I know a lot of people are concerned about how Disney is doing, but if anything, if you want to have some concerns, be worried about what's going on at Warner Brothers, because things, oh boy, is it not great. And we are back, and now it is time that we shall cap this episode off with the grand finale. And for this finale, I just have a little question that I'd like to ask you, Paleo. Are you excited for Coyote vs. Acme? You've heard about this movie, right?
Yeah, I've heard about it. I hope it doesn't get deleted.
I hope so too. And I mean, for a while, you know, for a while we were hoping that, okay, it got its second chance and maybe we will see the light of day of when this movie comes out. But then came this article, and so far it's just not looking positive for Coyote vs. Acme, and it looks like, well, we may end up never seeing it again. So for those of you who don't know, this is an article from The Wrap called The Final Days of Coyote vs. Acme, Offers, Rejections, and a Roadrunner Race Against Time, written by Drew Taylor. And in this article, it gives us an update onto the current status of Coyote vs. Acme, the live-action animation hybrid movie starring the Looney Tunes Wile E. Coyote, in which he would go and sue the Acme Corporation. Now, the last time that we have heard about it was the massive controversy in which Warner Brothers was ready to go and cancel the movie outright and just turn it into a tax write-down, similar to what they have done with Batgirl and Scoob Holiday Haunt, in which they took a fully completed movie and they decided that they don't want anyone to go and see it and just turn it into a tax write-down, and that is it. But since then, because the backlash that the internet gave David Zaslav and the executives at the Warner Brothers, it just became so big that they had no choice but to go in reverse course, and they decided to go and sell it. Where they themselves don't want to go and distribute it, they don't care about that, but they wanted to go and hand it to someone else so that they could go and maybe release it themselves on whatever streaming platform they would put it on. And at that point, according to this article, the WB actually did get some offers. They got one from Netflix, they got one from Amazon, and even Paramount made an offer. And not only did they offer to go and distribute it, but also give it a theatrical release. Like, they were ready to go and do that. Only problem, though, is that Warner Brothers declined them all. Why? Because they were asking for way too much. In fact, let me just go on my source here on the Wrap, where it actually states right over here, Warner Brothers, which stood to make $35 to $40 million on the tax write-down, wanted something in the ballpark of $75 to $80 million from a buyer. And what's more, they wouldn't allow the interested studios to counter Warner Brothers' offer. It was a take it or leave it situation, one that the other studios didn't even know they were entering into, insiders told The Wrap. So they were just being very stern, and apparently because they see some value in Coyote versus Acme, they decided, you know what, instead of just getting $40 million at the most, they wanted to go and double that so that they could go and make more than what they spent on the budget, which is said to be, I believe, around $70 million. And they were asking for 75 to 80 million at minimum. Like, they were hoping maybe for more, but the other distributors didn't want to go and do so. But at this point, though, some people might be shocked. Like, they might be surprised to hear that Warner Brothers doesn't even want to give a chance to Coyote versus Acme. How is it that those executives would see all the hard work that the cast and crew that they would put into it and how much love they would give it, and they decided they're just going to reject it outright? Well, that's the awkward thing, because this is another factor that this article would go and mention. It's that, well, they didn't actually see the fully completed movie. In fact, let me just go and add on to here that the president and CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, David Zaslav, never saw the movie at all. And on top of that, the CEOs and co-chairpersons of Warner Brothers Motion Picture Group, Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi, saw a director's cut, and that is it. And the president of Warner Brothers Pictures Animation, Bill Damashki, apparently he only saw the first audience preview, and that's it. Significantly, Coyote vs. Acme was developed and greenlit by a previous regime. The only executive that worked on the movie that is still at the company is Jesse Ehrman. These executives, who trumpet a filmmaker-first approach and have recently signed big deals with directors like Ryan Coogler and Paul Thomas Anderson, who conspicuously made their deals after the filmmaker-led backlash to Warner Brothers have subsided, were apparently prepared to trash a movie that they've never even watched. And by the way, I just want to go and make a quick statement that technically it is not outright canceled just yet. There is still a few days left that Coyote vs. Acme does have until maybe they could find a distributor and that it could get a chance to be released worldwide. It's just that, unfortunately, well, the chances are pretty slim, especially with the fact that technically at the most, if there would be a specific release date, Like at the most, it would be right over here. To which it states, with Warner Brothers Discovery's fourth quarter earnings call scheduled for February 23rd, Coyote vs. Acme is running out of time. Many of the film's team feel that the studio will use the ending of the quarter to get the movie off the books for good. Coyote vs. Acme is running up against something worse than a tunnel painted into the side of a mountain or a falling anvil. It will finally be silenced by a movie studio's balance sheet. So, Paleo, what are your thoughts on this? How do you feel? Because I know this is a lot to digest here.
Yeah, it's very, very unfortunate, especially since this is not the first movie to go through this with Warner Brothers. And I just feel really, really bad for like everybody who has worked on this project and the other projects that have been under Warner Brothers. It makes you think, like, how many other projects have been worked on that we've just not seen the light of day, that have just been scrapped or canceled. But for something to be like completed and then just not released, and then just like not only like a few eyes have seen, and just see it just like, I guess, deleted from existence. I saw somebody post that one clip from Space Jam: A New Legacy, where it's like, oh yeah, and if y'all lose, all the tunes are getting deleted. It's so weird how like that movie kind of like predicted the future of like Warner Brothers.
Yeah, A New Legacy is not great, but it's weird to see how that particular moment somehow has aged very well in the most unfortunate way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's true that technically movies get canceled all the time. It always happens with all the other studios, like with Warner Brothers, Disney, Universal, Sony, Paramount, and what have you. Like, they always go through the process of, like, they're gonna make a movie, but then suddenly halfway through they would go and just cancel it outright. But this is a more unique case in which the movie itself is pretty much done. Like, it's already fully finished. If not, like, the grand majority of it is already done. And yet, they decided that right at the moment where it is very close to being released, they decided, you know what, we're not going to release it. We're just going to cancel it. We're going to bury it in the ground, and we're just going to turn it into a tax write-off. That's the part where it is upsetting. And like you mentioned, that it really sucks that the filmmakers, they've spent years on this one. Like, I think this was announced back in 2018, and already that's like 5 to 6 years that the team have completely wasted. And you could tell that there was already a lot of love that was put into it, especially with Eric Bauza, who's said to be the voice of Wile E. Coyote in this, and probably some other Looney Tunes characters in there as well. And, like, he was really hyping this up. In fact, like, ever since the start of the year, like, he was really, he was really getting excited. He was, like, sharing pictures and saying, like, yeah, see you in 2024. Yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be awesome. And then suddenly this thing happens, and it's just, it's unfortunate. Like, you could tell that this is something that the people who worked on it, they very much care about this project, but it is clear that the executives just do not care. And it's especially because of the fact that, like, it's technically the passing of the torch, because of, like, the entirety of Warner Brothers, like, all the heads at Warner Brothers is now under new management, and they didn't even bother to just go and watch it. Which does bring up the big question as to why. And I mean, there's been a lot of speculations. Like, some people are saying that because of the failure of Space Jam: A New Legacy, it kind of turned off Warner Brothers from making more of these animation, live action, hybrid Looney Tunes movies. So maybe they just don't want a repeat of that. But then there is another speculation, and funny enough, this is actually coming from Phil Lord, in which on Twitter, his allegation is that he accused Warner Brothers of doing some anti-competitive tactics, that the reason why Coyote vs. Acme ended up getting canceled, or that they want to cancel it, it's so that it makes things easier for them to go and do the proposed merger that has previously been talked about. Like, we have heard talks that Warner Brothers have considered about the idea of trying to do this big merger with Paramount so that the two studios can become one major studio, and that by canceling something like Coyote versus Acme, it'll make things easier for them to go and actually do so. Now, there's no 100% confirmation if what Phil Lord said is actually true on this, even though that he's one of the very few people on this earth who has actually seen the movie in its completion. Just out of curiosity, do you think there's some validity onto that statement, or do you think there could be some kind of reason as to why that Warner Brothers would go and cancel this?
I'm not sure. Because I don't know a lot about like the back end of how mergers happen. But man, there needs to be a lot less like consolidation within the entertainment industry, because like there's way too much of it. Like in recent years.
Yeah, I will say though that even though I cannot confirm what Phil Lord says, like for me, I feel like there can be some credibility, especially with what's been happening like behind the scenes, especially with the business at Warner Brothers. Like, as much as people love to poke fun at Disney with how they're not doing good in terms of their business, Warner Brothers, on the other hand, they're kind of in a worse shape, especially with the way that David Zaslav is running the industry. It's like he's kind of like running the company into the ground at this point, and I could see how canceling some movies and just turning them into tax write-offs, it feels like it would be more, it would add more value to Warner Brothers to make it more likely to do a merger. And in that regard, I wouldn't be surprised if the executives, as great as it is to get all the positive press about Barbie, like, they would feel like it's kind of a detriment because it would hold them back from doing that kind of merger. Like, if Barbie wasn't a major success, I wouldn't be surprised if they would suddenly go and do that merger with Paramount, or allegedly that they would do that sooner.
Yeah, it'd be so weird if that would happen, because that means like all the Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network stuff would be under one umbrella. Then
yes,
that'd be so strange.
Oh my god! In an animation standpoint, it is frightening. Like, there's also like so many different factors, but like, I don't know. I feel like if Paramount and Warner Brothers would merge, it would just be way too freaking much. But going back to we'll talk about that if that does happen, because I feel like that's a nightmare conversation that I don't know if I'm ready to have. But going back to Coyote versus Acme, at this point, do you think there could be a chance that maybe a distributor would suddenly come in and they would go and release that? Or do you think like it's over, like what Coyote versus Acme is done and people are never going to see it again?
At this point, I think the only way people are going to see it is if it's leaked.
Yeah,
like with other films that have been leaked. Nobody leaked Batgirl or Scoob Holiday Haunt though, so I don't know. Maybe it won't.
I mean, it's true. I mean, like, there was I don't know what the fridge happened, but there was that weird incident somehow that apparently the Sandy Cheeks movie got leaked, like the entirety of it.
Yeah.
Like,
it was like that wasn't even in trouble of like getting like deleted like Coyote versus Acme was.
Yeah, like, did you know what happened to it? Like, what, like, how did that got leaked? How is it suddenly like, and the movie is like fully finished. It's like ready to go.
Yeah.
You can put it up on Netflix. Like, what happened?
I don't know.
That was just so weird. But yeah, you're right. Like, the only way it would be if like the best bet now would be if someone would go and leak the movie right now, because yeah, at this point, honestly though, there is one thing that I am thinking, like it's not going to happen whatsoever, but honestly, I would laugh so hard if that would be the case. If there is a distributor and someone did pick it up, and then suddenly we will hear the news that Coyote versus Acme will be released on Disney Plus. That would honestly,
that'd be funny.
That would be freaking amazing that the savior of the Looney Tunes would be Disney. Like an ironic twist of fate that one day Disney decided to be like, hey, let's have our Moana, and we're gonna do it with freaking we're gonna do it with freaking Coyote versus Acme. I mean, again, I know it would never happen, but honestly, I would be absolutely amazed. That would be like one of the greatest moments of the year. But
that's another fear I have about like mergers and stuff, because like with what happened with Disney and Fox, I mean, Blue Sky got shuttered.
yeah.
So I would think that if there was like a merger with Warner Brothers and Paramount, like one of the animation studios under Warner Brothers might get shuttered, or one of the animation studios under Paramount might get shuttered. So
Unfortunately, yeah, honestly, if that does occur, I think it will happen. Like, I think it's most likely going to be the Paramount stuff that's going to be shut down. Like, I think, like...
yeah, Paramount Animation, yeah.
That's going to go bye-bye for sure. And I would say maybe the Avatar studio as well. Depending on how the Netflix series is going to be, I don't see that standing for long.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is very unfortunate at the current situation with Coyote versus Acme. I do wish that we could see it, but unless someone would go out of their way to go and leak this alongside Scoob, Holiday Haunt, and Batgirl, yeah, we may end up not seeing it. It sucks, and from what we've heard, it's apparently a fantastic movie, but yeah, it's just it's a sad ending, honestly. But anyways, with that said, though, it is now time I'd like to go and pass this on to the chat wall, and I'd like to ask you all, what do you all think about the news that Coyote vs. Acme may end up ultimately getting canceled? I would like to know your thoughts on all this. Let's see. I thought we could breathe easy, but I guess we gave Warner Brothers Discovery too much credit. Even everything about this situation is disgusting and should be a crime. I'm hoping for a miracle when it gets bought at the last minute or leaked. The cast and crew deserves to see their hard work be seen. And yeah, you know what? That is interesting. Considering the like with Phil Lord accusing them with doing anti-competitive practices and using that as a tactic to go and try to make their merger with Paramount more believable. Just out of curiosity, I know this is a bit of a stretch to ask, but do you think that there could be some like criminal hearings about this? Do you think that this could be something that Congress could actually like take a moment to actually listen to what the fridge is happening with Warner Brothers?
Maybe, because they've like I said, this isn't the first film they've done this with.
Mm-hmm.
So it could have like the government step in.
Yeah, that would be very interesting, honestly. Like that, if Coyote versus Acme ultimately does get canceled, that would be the next thing I want to see. I want to see politics actually get involved. I know many people don't like this, but honestly, this is a moment where we need politics to enter into animation, damn it. All right, let's see now. This is just depressing to see, and Zaslav not even seeing a second of the movie is just salt to the open wound. Here's hoping there is light at the end of the title at the end of the tunnel for Coyote vs. Acme, and some distributor eventually seals the deal, even if it's a very slim chance. Also, I'd like to ask, what are your thoughts about the Funimation digital copy fiasco? Oh, have you heard about this?
Oh yeah, I have.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
It's funny because there was like a sentence in a previous like Funimation like article or whatever, or like on their site saying like, oh yeah, you'll have your digital copies forever. Never mind.
No, it's like digital copies. Never mind. Yeah, that is true. I have heard about this, and honestly, it very much justifies why you need physical copies of your stuff.
Yeah.
This is why physical releases are so important, is because of crap like this. Because when you put like when you get things digitally, unless it's piracy, like you don't own the things. Like you don't actually own the stuff that you have. It's the companies who get to keep it, and they ultimately decide if you can still have it or not. So honestly, the Funimation controversy, like with the digital releases, not only is it another example of the dangerous consequences in terms of mergers, considering that they've blended with Crunchyroll, but also why you need physical copies, man. Anyways, this is so disheartening to see how Warner Brothers is willing to try to sabotage Coyote vs. Acme, not just because it is already complete, but even the potential buyout from the studios like Paramount, so it can never be released. Zaslav didn't see it either, so that is also an insult. I hope there is some last-minute save soon. Also, given Warner Brothers is releasing the Sony animation film Fix, or the North American release, can we pray Sony Pictures buys off from Warner Brothers to ensure the global release for Fix given Warner Brothers' circumstance? Ooh, that does bring up a good point, though. Do you think Warner Brothers would care to release Fixed?
Release Fixed?
Yeah, because they're the ones who are because even though Sony Animation is doing it, it's technically New Line Cinema that's going to be putting it out, which is a subdivision of Warner Brothers. Do you think they might cancel that one as well?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, honestly, considering we haven't heard much from that movie for a while, it's like very iffy, and especially with considering how another movie with a very similar concept, Strays, that ended up becoming a box office bomb. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard anybody talk about that movie.
Yeah, it gives me doubt. I don't know. I think it's gonna be, like, I feel like there's gonna be a chance that it might end up with all the other non-Hotel Transylvania Genndy Tartakovsky projects. I mean, I could be wrong, and hopefully I'm wrong, but there is still that chance. Anyways, this proves two things. For starters, Warner Brothers doesn't care about the Looney Tunes brand whatsoever, and also David Zaslav needs to be blacklisted from the industry. Seriously, did he think for 1 second he wouldn't get hate for this? Warner Brothers would have made more money just by releasing Coyote vs. Acme instead of throwing it away. And if Zaslav is going to continue with this gross incompetence, I think we're going to live in a world where Warner Brothers won't exist anymore. I mean, like, it sounds like an exaggeration, but there's a part of me that is hesitant to say that he's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see now. I think I'll read one more comment and then we'll cap this off. Okay, you know what? I want to steal this movie. I really want to, but that would be super hard to do and also illegal to do, but dang it, I hate David Zaslav. You know, come to think of this, I think the idea of stealing a movie because of a potential tax write-off would be an awesome idea for a movie. I'll keep that in mind. But seriously, this is absolutely heartbreaking to hear. The crew that worked on this film worked very hard on it, and poof, it's gone. F you, Zaslav. Well, at least we got the day. Or we got the day the Earth blew up. That other Looney Tunes movie.
Yeah. Which, that's gonna be a theatrical, apparently?
Yeah, apparently so. Like, they are planning to go and put that on the big screen. Yep. And with that said, though, I believe that should do it for today's episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Paleo, thank you so much for joining me on this. This turned out to be such a wonderful episode, and it's great to be bringing back some special guests for this. Thank you so much for being a part of this.
Yeah, you're welcome, and thank you for having me on.
Yeah, and by the way, before we go, Paleo, are there any things that you would like to go and promote? Any social medias? Like, if people really loved you in this episode, is there anything that you would like to mention that you would like to bring up here? Like, if people want to follow you, where would they go?
So I have been streaming a lot recently, over the past year or so. Here on Twitch. I'm just Paleo Steno on Twitch. And I've been like doing my VTuber stuff. But like this weekend, I know you're probably streaming it as well. This weekend, the Annie Awards are happening.
I'm debating it, honestly. I don't know if I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but like,
but
at least you're
I will be
doing
streaming it on mine. Yeah, I will be streaming it on my channel, reacting to it and seeing what's who wins the Annie Awards. So that'll be fun. So I know your audience is are big animation fans, and like that's like the big thing I'm doing this weekend. And then I have a 2023 ranking of animated films I'm gonna have at the end of the month sometime on my YouTube
Ooh.
channel. So that's also Paleo Steno on YouTube.
Ah, interesting. All right, that's awesome, dude. So yeah, don't forget to go and follow Paleo Stena, folks. And on top of that, if you guys have enjoyed this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, then don't forget to go and subscribe to the AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast YouTube channel and the Animat Live Twitch channel. And also, don't forget to follow me on whatever podcast service you're listening to, whether it be on Spotify, Google, Amazon, or iTunes. And with that said and done, I would like to say thank you all so much for listening. Thank you all so much for watching. And until next time, see you later, dudes. You can say bye too, by the way.
Oh, bye.